Hello and welcome to Back to Life Studio, where each week I invite you to join me online for my Pilates movement therapy session. This is your chance to connect with your body on a deeper level, to help you release stress and tension that you've been holding on to all week or perhaps even all year. Now, at the end of today's session, I'm going to take you through a short little guided TRE session, trauma release exercises, to help engage those neurogenic tremors to release the nervous system just that little bit more. And what I need you to have handy is have a TheraBand handy, so we can use that when we're doing our hip series and leg circles. Have a little cushion, depending on what you need for your neck support. And also have a journal handy with a pen, obviously, to do a little bit of journaling at the end of today's session. So we're going to get started. I'm going to stand up to start off with, and I encourage you to do obviously the same. And we're going to do that. And then after we've gone through a little bit of a stand-up roll down and a few other grounding exercises, we're going to come down onto the mat and we'll get started. We'll continue on with the session through there as well. All right, so let's get into it. Okay, so just starting off, we're just going to do some nice shoulder rolls, just to help mobilize those shoulders. Just addressing some of the most neglected body parts, and that would be our shoulders to start off with. Just rolling those humeral bones out and back. Exhaling as you bring your arms down and opening up those palms, rotating all the way up into the shoulder. Do two more, and last one. Okay, we're going to squeeze the shoulders up towards our ears and then squeeze them back down again. So as we're squeezing down, we want to feel that connection with our lats. So our muscles at the base of our shoulder blades, okay? So pulling them down, pulling our shoulders away from our ears, helping that tension roll away and down off the shoulders. Inhaling and exhaling as the arms come down. Just gentle. And again, last one. Okay, going to bring our arms up now. So reaching our arms up towards the sky and back down again. Have your arms a little bit wider, just to help with that mobility through the shoulder. And back down. We're going to change the breath pattern here. So we're going to inhale at the top. So we're going to exhale at the bottom and then inhale up, exhale down and inhale up, exhale down and inhale up. So as we're reaching our arms up, we don't want to feel like we're getting this rib flare. We're just going to keep our ribs connected and bring the arms up, okay? Good. Two more. And last one. Good, coming down to our feet now, just focusing on our feet. Imagining your little toes, big toes, pressing into the mat. Each one of the toes, you can't see mine, but I'll do my hand movements to help with that. So you're going to press each one of your toes in almost like you're playing piano keys, okay? So we're just pressing one toe in at a time across from big toe to little toe. Doing it with your hands too is quite a interesting feat on its own. Feet, get it? Oh God, so corny this morning. Sorry about that. All right, just connecting in, feeling that pressure into the heels and shimmering into the heels, feeling that pressure coming up into the hips. So you're transferring the weight from one heel to the other and you can feel it resonating all the way up into the hips, okay? So you can feel that. Maybe you can feel even the movement into the joint if you place your hands around that hip capsule and just connecting into that pelvis from the upright position. Okay, now we're going to rise up on our tippy toes now and lower back down again, nice and slow, and we're rising up rather than forward, okay? So rising up through the crown of the head, lifting up, letting that breath come in, exhaling, and inhale up and exhale down. Letting all those little intrinsic muscles fire up to help stabilize you. Perhaps you can even feel your TRA, your deepest abdominal muscles, engaging as you're rising up. So you feel like a connection in through your center as you're reaching up high to help stabilize and balance the body. Again. And really connecting in. Bit of a squeeze, pelvic floor, connecting in again to that center as you're rising up. Letting all those little muscles fire up to stabilize. We've got 2 more. And coming back down. We're going to bring our hands behind our head now. So you're going to find your occipital ridge. So you're going to find that ridge from where your skull joins into the base of your neck. So the base of the skull joins into the top of the neck. Okay, you're going to find that with your thumbs and just give it a little bit of a massage. Okay, so find any tender spots into your neck, running along. I'm going to do a quick little video here. Maybe you could see it. This is what I mean. Pressing into this part of the skull and finding that tension, helping release that off. You can do this a little bit longer any time of the day, but for today we're just going to pay attention to that space. Then we're going to cup our head with our hands and we're going to push our head back into our hands and release back. So we're creating a little bit of a double chin and then back. Okay, so the hands are pulling forward, but I'm pulling my chin back. And then again, push back, pull forward at the same time, and back. Again, from the side. Probably not our best look, but it just helps with that forward head posture. So we're pushing back and pulling forward at the same time. And one more. Good. Now you're going to release your fingers from the back of your head and gently, gently, gently bring your arms back and down, all the way down. Bit of a shoulder roll, help release those shoulders at the end of all of that. Good, nice work. Okay, we're starting to ground and connect in now. You can feel that? Okay, much better. All right, so now we're going to do our roll down, okay? So I'm standing to the side just so you can see the roll down. We're going to gently tuck our chin to the chest and start to create a bend in the ribs. So we're talking flexion through the spine, mobilizing, coming down 1 vertebra at a time, just to where our knees are, and then rolling back up again. Okay, so as you're rolling over, I want you to feel like you're a wave, okay? And a wave pulls itself up as it rolls itself over, okay? So we're drawing up and over. So again, rolling down 1 vertebra at a time, creating that movement, and stacking back up. Nice. Okay, again, exhaling down. And back up. You don't have to have your legs locked out straight. You can just have them relaxed to start off with. So we're just getting that movement through the spine It's not a hamstring stretch. Literally aiming for movement. And one more. Nice. And just one more, we're going to do a hamstring stretch. We're a little bit differently, okay? So with the next one, I'm going to get you to roll all the way down. So we're going to get to the bottom and we're just going to hold there to where you feel the tension in the back of your hamstrings. So legs are going to be straight, not locked out, but just softened, okay? So the knees are softened and you're going to roll down, exhaling as you go, pulling your belly button into spine to protect your back as you're coming down that little bit further. Keeping your feet connected into the mat. So try and keep your heels connected into the mat as well. All right. And with each breath, you just want to be coming a little bit lower, okay? So let your body release you further and further into that mat with each breath. So you're not forcing it, but just letting your body release you, okay? Let that gravity do the work and help pull your upper body closer to the mat. Head hanging down between your shoulders. And one more. You just notice how much closer or how much flatter your hands are on the mat with each breath. And if you want a little bit more of a hamstring stretch, then let's gently, gently, gently straighten the knees while you're down here. And then you can soften your knees. And then you can straighten just that little bit, really softly. And again, one more. Bend and straighten, not forcing it, just gentle movement. Okay, we're going to start to come up now. So pulling the belly button to spine to help protect that back as you're coming up, rolling up. One vertebra at a time, let your arms hang there nice and relaxed, stacking up. One vertebra at a time. Chin and head, the last thing to come up. Good work. We'll do another little shoulder roll. Okay, so now we're ready to come down onto the mat. I'll get down on the mat and we'll see you in a minute. Okay. So sitting on the mat, bringing your knees towards you, we're going to do a roll down onto the mat now. So arms are going to reach out in front. And we're going to roll down, imprinting the lower back into the mat first. Shoulders, arms overhead if you can, nice stretch there. And then we're going to come up. Okay, feel that? Okay, we're going to do one more rolling down. Keep your knees close together, coming down, imprinting into the mat and bottoms down. Okay, good work. All right, so we're going to start with pelvic tilts as always, mobilizing through the lower back and through the sacrum. Another area of our body that gets stuck because it doesn't get moved throughout the day. We're just sitting there on our pelvis and it gets stuck. So tilting pubic bone towards your nose and then back down towards your toes. Almost imagining you've got handles on your hips and you're tilting back and forwards. Now I try and encourage clients to do this without activating the glutes, okay? So you're not squeezing your glutes on to tilt your pubic bone back and forwards. You're just moving the skeleton, okay? But in saying that, I want you to work into these muscles here. So the muscles between your pubic bone, belly button and hip bones. That's the muscles, that's the space you need to be focusing in when you're tilting your pubic bone back and forwards, okay? Or you're tilting your pelvis back and forwards. So again, tilting back. Don't underestimate the power of this little movement. It's quite powerful for activating your transverse abdominis, the deepest tummy muscles, and also pelvic floor as well. It's a key part of the Pilates movement. All right, so we're going to roll around pelvic clocks from one side to the other. Again, trying to keep the rest of the thigh as still as possible and just isolating that movement into the pelvis. So the head and the neck shouldn't be moving too much. Again, just keeping it into the pelvis on the end of the spine and on the end of the thighs. Roll back the other way. Again, using those muscles, deep tummy muscles, to move that pelvis back around. That's what we're aiming for. You might not be feeling it just yet, but once you start deepening your Pilates practice, you'll certainly start to connect into that space a lot quicker and a lot deeper. Okay, pelvic curl. We're going to tilt our pubic bone towards our nose and keep curling that pelvis up off the mat, peeling up nice and slow, up to just to where your shoulders or the base of your shoulder blades are coming off the mat, and then rolling back down again, imprinting the spine into the mat again. So we're aiming for a little bit more movement through the pelvis and through the lower back. And back down. Good. Noticing all the muscles that have to fire up for you to do this nice and still, okay? So it's a very controlled movement. Hips up. It's not too high, but just creating that movement through the spine. Okay, last one up. And pressing down. Okay. Enjoying that breath. Then we're going to do letting our heels come a little bit further away from our bottom now. So just a bit further, so we've got a bit more space between our heels and our buttocks. We're going to float one leg up and back down again. So keeping below the knee nice and still, and we're just literally just floating that knee, because these are called knee floats, up and down. So exhaling as we're lifting, inhaling down, and again keeping that focus in on this space here, okay, through that band. Exhaling as you float, inhale down. Okay, we've got two more. And last one. Okay, now we're going to bring one leg up to tabletop and then bring the other leg up to match. We're going to exhale, toe tap one leg down, inhale up. Exhale down, inhale up. If you're feeling a strain on your back when you lower that leg down, bring your knees a little bit closer to your chest to start off with until you get a little bit stronger, and exhale down. But that little strain should be controlled through your abdominal muscles. So you're activating your deep stomach muscles to protect your back, okay? So your back's not arching off. It's just keeping there on the mat in its neutral position as you toe tap that foot down. Good, exhale down. Got two more. And last one. Good. Bring knees into chest now. You can feel that lower back rolling off, or your pelvis I should say, rolling off the back of the mat. Just have that little stretch there. Roll your ankles around. Figures of 8 in both directions if you can. Try to keep the lower half of your legs still as you're doing that, and just isolate the movement into the ankles. Good. All right, feet back down now. So this next exercise is called the shoulder bridge with knee floats. So we're going to exhale as the body comes up. We're going to hold here as we inhale, and then exhale to float one leg up. Inhale it down, and then exhale, float up. Inhale that down, and then exhale the whole body back down again. Okay, so again, rolling up. Exhale, float. Inhale down. Exhale, float. Inhale down. Exhale the whole body back down. Again, exhale up. Inhale. Exhale, float. Inhale down. Exhale, float. Inhale down, and the whole bottom back down again. Now you guys can do your own pace with that one. You're going to do 3 more on your own. And last one. Good work. Again, you can bring those knees into your chest for a little bit of a stretch there, rolling the back of your pelvis up off the mat behind you. Great. Legs let down, back onto the mat. We're going to put our hands behind our head now and come up for our chest lift. So we're not coming up high, we're coming up similar to like we do with the roll down. We're just creating that bend in the ribs, looking into our belly, and back down again. So as you're coming up, you're pushing your head back into your hands and back down. So exhale up, pushing back, inhale down. Again. And 2 more. And last one. Good. Bringing one knee into your chest now and placing the outside hand onto your front of your knee, inside hand onto the front of the shin. We're going to lengthen that leg down, the other leg down. So we're holding this one into our chest. Again, having a couple of breaths here. Helping release the hip. Swap legs over, outside hand to the top of the knee, below the knee I should say, inside hand just over the ankle. Okay, with the next one we're coming up into our chest lift. We're going to bring our chest to our knee and our knee to our chest, okay? We're going to swap them over with the exhale. So exhale, making sure shoulders are relaxed, catching that knee with our hands. Got 4 more. 3, 2, and 1. Bring that knees back into chest. Have a little roll off there. And then we are going to roll over onto our side, and we'll need another cushion for that to protect your, support your head and your neck. I use a little half foam roller, and we just put that onto the side. You can use your other cushion if you have one. Laying on our side, we're going to do clams. Oh, everyone's favourite. Okay, so this one we're just going to position your legs at about 45-degree angle. Your heels are going to be behind you, sort of in line with where your bottom is, okay? So they're not down here, they're about here, okay? We're going to play around with the movement. You need to be able to work these muscles up in the back of the hip. So our glutes, our glute med and glute min will be working when we do this exercise. So head down, let the rest of the body relax completely in this position, and let the glute do all the work. So exhaling and lowering down. If you're feeling other muscles working, you can reposition your knees slightly up or down, but you want to be able to really focus in on these muscles at the back. And sometimes I encourage people just to poke that muscle as you're moving, and that also just helps get that kinesthetic connection with the brain and the muscle. So you know what muscle you want moving or activated, and really taking that focus into that space there. So as you're lifting that leg, you want to make sure your hips are facing forward, that you're not rocking back and forwards with each one. It's quite an easy mistake, and that's the quickest way for the glutes not to activate, is when you start rocking the pelvis from side to side or back to forth. Okay, we're going to straighten from below the knee now. So just there, and we're just going to do 10 circles in each direction. Again, trying to keep everything nice and still, and just really isolating that movement for that thigh bone up into those hips. Change direction if you haven't already done so. I feel like I'm just going back in the same direction. Yo! Feel that burn. And done. Okay, good work. Lengthening the legs down, nice and long. We're going to do our side lying leg lift now, okay? So hands positioned here or here, however, whatever's comfortable for you. I might just adjust this pillow for myself. Make sure your neck's supported for this exercise. I don't want you to be lifting your neck up. You'll know what I mean in a second. But we're aiming to get our inner thighs touching each other, okay? So that top leg is rested in just past shoulder distance, and we're squeezing that top leg up to meet it. So we're working our obliques, working our adductors, sure, but really working those obliques, those side stomach muscles. Again, so you want nothing else moving except that bottom leg. And it may take a little bit of time, practice, to get that happening, and that's what we're here for. And last one. Ooh, okay, I got the legs working. All right, we're going to switch ends now. We'll come up this end, and we'll do it all again on the other side. So comfortable, make sure your neck's supported. Doing our clams to start off with. Knees at about 45 degrees. Feet behind you, big toes and heels connected to each other. And we're lifting up that top hip. Making sure pelvis isn't rocking back and forwards. And we're opening up that top hip. Again, tap the muscle if you need to. Get that little bit of awareness into that space. We aim for usually about 10 to 12 of these ones, okay? All right, I'm going to go last one. Okay, we're going to straighten leg. We're going to do 10 circles. Remembering to breathe. The breath is what's going to take you through to that deeper connection, activation, change direction. And down, rest down. Good work. Legs straight down. Just adjust myself here. All right, legs straight down on your side. Top leg lifts up, bottom leg raises to meet it. Again, you're working into these muscles here. And you might already feel your body tremoring a little bit as we're doing this one. And last one. Oh, good work. Alrighty, we're going to turn over onto our front now and we're going to do diamond press and dart. Okay, just get myself organised here. So you need your towel or a mat for you to rest your forehead on. But we're starting off with a diamond shape, creating a diamond shape with our hands. So our index finger and our thumb are joined together, and we're going to rest our forehead onto our thumbs. And again, very similar to like when we started, we're pushing our head back away from the mat. So we're creating almost like a double chin in this position here now. Okay. So eye gaze is down towards the thumbs. You're looking into that diamond shape on the mat. Almost like you're trying to read fine print that's written on the mat in front of you. Okay, next we're going to roll up that little towel. So you've got a little bit of a ledge to rest your forehead on. Arms are going to come down, long down by your side. You're going to squeeze your shoulder blades back down as if you're standing to attention, like we did when we started off. Bringing those hands back and around. So activating our posture. Give our glutes a squeeze. We're going to lift our thighs up off the mat as well. Okay, as we're squeezing back. And then with the next one, we're going to bring the head and heart up off the mat and back down. So full body activation, lifting up and down. And last one. Good, resting down. Hands are going to come to your shoulders now. Tuck your toes, push yourself back and bring your heels back to your bottom. Or your bottom back to your heels. All right, so holding there, exhaling. Taking a few breaths, letting that breath expand the backs of the ribs, the lower half of the ribs and into the lower back. And one more. Okay, then we're going to come up on all fours. Your wrists are directly underneath your shoulders. Your knees are directly underneath your hips. We're going to do some cat-cows here now, okay? So we're pulling the belly button up to spine, letting the head hang down between the shoulders.
Then we're going to send the sit bones up to the sky behind you and roll the heart
and chin out to the wall in front. Again, keep the head where it is, pull the belly up to the spine, keeping the head.
Head's the last thing to come down and hang between the shoulders. Hold there for a moment with the head. Let the tail tilt up to the sky behind you.
Sink your chest down, heart out in front. Again, pulling up.
Head hangs down. Keep your head where it is. Let the tail go up behind you.
Hold the head there, pull the belly up. Again, pull the belly up. And last one, again, pulling up, creating that big C curve. Nice, okay. With this next one, I'm going to get you to widen your legs a little bit wider. You're going to bring your hip toes together and you're going to send your sit bones back to your heels and rest your elbows onto the mat. You can actually rest your forehead, stack your fists on top of each other and rest your forehead onto your fists and just hold into this position here for a moment, if that's okay for you. We're going to inhale and we're going to focus in on our pelvic floor. In particular, we're going to focus on the front of the pelvic floor. So where you do wheeze, we're going to squeeze, okay? So front of pelvic floor, squeeze, and then gently release. Again, squeeze, and release. And again, squeeze. And release. And again, squeeze. And release. And each time you squeeze and release really slowly, okay? So you almost feel, you're imagining that space tightening and then slowly letting go. You're aware of that area, paying attention to our pelvic floor, the front of pelvic floor in particular. Like I said, where we do wheeze, we're going to squeeze. And also just notice, I'm noticing this as we're doing this actually, your forehead is resting onto your fists stacked on top of each other as well. So you're creating into that third eye space as well. And if you can imagine light, white light, into that space where your forehead is resting onto your fists as well. As you squeeze and release. Just notice what you're noticing. Nothing profound or something profound. Just notice what you notice. Okay, we're going to come up from there. We're going to come up onto all fours. And stacking our hands again underneath our shoulders and our knees underneath our hips. We're going to reach the toe behind you, keeping the one toe onto the mat, or one foot, I should say, onto the mat, and reach the opposite arm up, okay? So the head's looking down at the mat, toes resting on the mat, arms reaching up, and we're going to lift, point the toe and lift, okay? And then back down again. And other side. So key thing to remember here is we don't want to tilt or lean over onto the other hip. We want to keep that square underneath and lengthening out longer rather than higher. Okay, so I don't want you getting higher, I want you getting longer and stronger, particularly through your center. Okay, longer, stronger through your center. Reaching out. Again, other side, reaching, reaching, and lifting. So we're lifting from the front of the hip. And back down again. Other side, reaching. Really good exercise for your core strength as it holds your upper body and your lower body together through the center. And back down. Okay, other side, reaching, lengthening, lifting, pointing, strong in the center. Other side, reach, reach, lift, push yourself away from the mat so you're not sinking down, pushing away, and back down. Okay, other side, reach, reach, lift, and down. Got two more, one on each side. And again. Good, and back down. Good. Rest your sit bones back to your heels again, pushing your hands into the mat, pushing your heels back, rounding off your lower back if you need to. I'm very tight in my back this week. And again. Okay, we're going to come up and do our donkey kicks now. So the foot is going to come up, so you're in that position there. We're going to flex the heel and we're going to pulse that heel up to the sky, keeping it towards your bottom, okay? Exhaling, pulsing. We're going to go with 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good work. Go the other side now, a little bit of a glute activator again. So we're starting off pointed, then we're flexing, keep those heels close to the bottom, and we're going to go for 10. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and last one down. Again, you can rest your bottom back, have a little stretch there. Good work. All right, we're going to come around and do some mermaids now. So it's a little bit of lateral flexion. So starting off seated in a zebra sit position. If you can sit down onto your sit bones, that's fantastic. Some people, their hips are quite tight, can't quite get down there, and that's okay. But just as long as this feels relatively comfortable for you, you might have to be leaning forward slightly. We can adjust your positioning in the studio. We'll have a conversation about that when you need to in the studio. But for now, we're going to place the hand out in front so that your elbow bends towards you when you reach over. Okay, so you're not like this, elbow, and then blends over, okay? So we're keeping that elbow towards you as we were doing our side bends. So exhaling as you come over, and you're feeling like you're moving between two planes of glass, okay? So you can't rock forward and you can't rock back, and you're just sitting there moving from side to side. Okay, that's the key things to remember. Positioning of shoulders, move from side to side, and feel like the ribs are lifting up or the underarm is lifting up. And you're creating an arch. Where am I? In this space here, so a lift over. So rather than scrunching down onto this side, we're feeling we're lifting up, okay? And again. Last one. Okay, switch the leggies around. We're going to face the other way. Again, resting down. You might feel a bit tighter on one side, quite often the way, and that's why we do it evenly. So we're going to go with 10 again on this side. And also important to keep your eyes out on the horizon as well. So you're not looking down at the mat or you're not looking up into the clouds. You're just keeping your eyes straight out on the horizon to help position that neck into a better spot as well. And again. And last one. Good work. All right, bringing our legs around. So now we're going to lay on our back. We're going to do a little bit of a tremoring session now. So get comfortable, have your journal handy, grab a pillow that's a little bit more supportive for your neck because you're going to be laying there for a little bit on your back. But just to start off with, we're going to make sure you're comfortable there. All right, we're going to bring our heels or our feet together like in a butterfly pose, okay? So we start off quite relaxed, just taking that breath, feet are together, just let the legs open up, body open up, take a breath and just exhale. Just feel that breath rise and fall in the stomach. And with the next breath, we're just going to bring our knees a little bit closer together, okay? So just raising our legs up just that little bit, a couple of inches towards each other. Keeping your feet joined in that butterfly position, bringing the knees up, relaxing the shoulders, and just holding there for a moment. You don't have to think about anything, just relax in this position here. Noticing your toes touching each other. And maybe you're already starting to feel a little bit of tremors on the inside of the thighs. And if you do, that's fine. And if you'd like to, you can, at any time you can stop the tremors. You can lengthen your legs straight down. And take a moment and take a couple of breaths if you like, and you can bring your legs back to the same position that you were just in. Always returning to that same position. So if you were down lower, start back there. If you're up higher, start there. So just bringing our knees a little bit closer together. And again, just taking a few breaths in and out and just observing the body. Noticing your toes connected into each other. Maybe you can feel your breath rising and falling inside the body. Just notice what you notice in your body. You can bring your knees a little bit closer together now. And just keep them in that position for a moment or two until you start to feel the tremors. And then when you feel the tremors, it might take a few minutes. And then you're going to lengthen your legs out when you do feel those tremors start to come in. And you're going to stop and start the tremors by lengthening your legs out and bringing your legs back in again. So when you feel the tremors, you just lengthen your legs out. Hold there for a moment, exhale. And just notice your body. And just say, ask the question, do I feel like I want to go back into the tremors? Yes, I'm curious. Let's go. So bring the heels back together again, or the feet back together again. Lift the knees a little bit closer towards each other. And just hold that for a moment again. And just notice if you can feel the tremors. And your job is to notice where you're bracing and restricting movement. So are you locking up into the shoulders? Is your jaw tight? Is your pelvis tight? Just noticing what you notice in your body if you feel like you might be blocking any of those tremors. Noticing where they're twitching, what's happening in the back of your calves. Is there any movement in the back of them? And again, if you notice any tremors coming through, you can allow them to build up if you like. Don't know whether you can see mine. Mine have started now. I realised where I was bracing and I let that go, and now the tremors have started to move through. So again, it's really important to, with the tremors, to not overdo it, okay? So noticing in your body when you need to back off, lengthening your legs back out again. If you feel like you've had enough and you're just going to let your legs straighten to stop the tremors, take a breath, exhale, and trust me, every time you stop and start and you bring your legs back together again, I usually find I get more and more relaxed and the tremors will activate even quicker and even more each time. That's something we can work with to help deepen your tremoring practice. So once you do feel the tremors starting to build up quite strongly, like mine are working there, I would then encourage you to place your feet flat onto the mat, and then it changes the position and just allows the body to tremor just that little bit more. Again, you can stop and start at any time, and I always try to stick to the rule of finding my comfort zone of 7 from a scale of 1 to 10. Okay, so you don't want to overdo it, and you just want to build that trust back with your body and allow those tremors to come through, but without overdoing it and over activating your nervous system again. Okay, so that's the important piece, and that's what your job is as that's really your only job in this process, is just to make sure that you're not overdoing it. Okay, you're observing them. You're observing where the tremors are starting, where you're bracing, releasing wherever you are bracing. Noticing the breath. Feeling totally safe and comfortable enough to be able to let these tremors occur. Okay, I'm going to lengthen my legs down and stop those for a moment. And you can keep doing your tremors as you see fit. You can just keep following that process of stopping and starting, keeping your feet in the butterfly position until you feel the tremors. When you start to feel the tremors, you can start to straighten your legs back out again and stop them, and then bring them back again to get them started. You can plant your feet flat on the mat like I just did before, and that will encourage the tremors to go further through the body. Like I just felt mine just start to come up then, and I just stopped them because I was talking, so I'm just going to let them go. And it's just remarkable to be able to let the brain do what it's doing, like to let the brain talk, so to speak, and let the body do what it does naturally in order to release stress. It's quite remarkable. And it's such a shame that we've gotten in our way, and, you know, to stop that innate ability to help tremor off that stress. But reintroducing it back into your daily movement practice is fantastic, especially at the end. Again, like if you've been for a run and you've been in that fight or flight mode, which you would be if you're running, you're in a cardiovascular, then afterwards, do your stretches, do your TRE. It's amazing, the benefits. Your hamstrings let go a lot better. You just recover so much better from any kind of exercise if you do this TRE, tremoring, at the end of a workout. So from here, if you're still tremoring, that's great. But what I like to encourage my clients as we're finishing up a tremoring session is we do a little bit of journaling practice. It's not suitable for everyone, obviously. I understand you might need to go off and go to work, that's fine. But if this really is an hour just for you and for you to deepen the connection, you allow time to be able to, you've moved your body, you've released the stress, now you're going to do a little bit of journaling as well, which is another way of writing or expressing, releasing what needs to come out of the body. And it might be thoughts, it might be ideas, it might be creative, it might be receiving feedback from your body or from, you know, the higher self. It might be answering some pertinent questions that you've had that you need to ask higher self, or for guidance, and you can do that as well. Whatever level, wherever you want to take it, it's totally up to you. But the journaling just adds a whole different level to that healing modality, that therapeutic movement piece. All right, so as you can see, I'm tremoring off, and I'm going to sign out now and encourage you to do your journaling, and I will see you all next week. See ya.